Welcome to Next Wealth HQ channel. Picture this, your neighbor pulls up in a brand new SUV. You're thinking, wow, they're crushing it, right? Well, there's actually a pretty high probability that guy is completely broke. Meanwhile, the woman down the street driving that beat-up dented Honda, yeah, she might actually be a millionaire. They live on the exact same street. They probably bring home the exact same paycheck. So what's going on here? Well, today we're diving into this explainer to uncover the massive financial deception sitting right in our driveways. We're going to break down exactly how the vehicle you drive is silently dictating your entire financial future. So, what does driving a 10-year-old car actually say about you? You know, society has essentially trained us to look at cars as like personal status updates. If you're a young professional, a brand new car screams, "Hey, look at me, I'm doing great," while an older car kind of whispers, "I might be falling behind." But this whole framing, it completely mixes up two very different concepts, income and wealth. Income is just what shows up in your bank account, right? But wealth is what actually stays there. And honestly, the car in your driveway is probably the #1 place on the planet where people get those two totally confused.
Let's look at a tale of two drivers. We've got Clay and we've got Hannah. Clay gets a brand new Tahoe every 3 years. He's got the fresh paint smell, the temporary tags, but he's also locked into an $800 a month payment and is actually sitting on $8,000 of negative equity. He is literally underwater. Now look at Hannah. She's driving a 2013 Honda CR-V. It's got a scuffed bumper, 190,000 miles on the dash, but here's the kicker. Hannah has a 7-figure net worth. Clay is paying a massive premium just for the illusion of wealth, while Hannah is quietly living the actual millionaire reality.
Section 1. Renting the depreciation curve. We really need to look at the brutal mathematical reality that separates these two approaches. I mean, look at how fast money literally vanishes into thin air here. The exact second Clay drives that $70,000 Tahoe off the dealership lot, a massive chunk of its value just evaporates. A new car loses about 20% of its value in just the very first year. By year 5, it's lost roughly 60%. So Clay's truck drops down to around $28,000 by the time he gets bored of it. He is silently torching $42,000 in just 5 years. And for what? Basically for the privilege of being the first guy to spill coffee in the cup holder.
The thing to understand is that depreciation isn't some steady, straight line. It is savagely front-loaded. Notice that insanely steep drop from year 1 to year 5. Those are absolutely the most expensive years to own any car. But look what happens right after that. The curve flattens out hard. The back half of a car's lifespan, years 6 through 15, those provide the absolute cheapest miles you will ever drive. It is just an incredible bargain.
So this brings us to a crucial concept, renting the curve. Because Clay trades his car in every 3 years, he eats the absolute worst of the depreciation, hands those cheap, reliable miles over to a total stranger, and then climbs right back onto the steepest part of the curve. It's wild. He's renting the single most expensive stretch of the car's lifespan on an endless loop. Hannah, on the other hand, she bought the whole curve once, way back in 2013, and she has been comfortably coasting on the cheap, flat end of it ever since. Section 2. The multi-million-dollar payment. But the loss of vehicle value is really only half the story. To see the real damage, we've got to focus on the payment itself and what Hannah is actually gaining while Clay is losing. Just look at this number, $800. As of mid-2026, this is the average new car payment in America. And we aren't even talking luxury cars here, guys. That is just the average. The huge problem is that most people look at this as just another monthly expense, but it's not. An $800 car payment is what I like to call an anti-investment. It's literally the exact opposite of building wealth because it's pulling resources out of your future every single month. Let's run a scenario. Say Hannah takes that exact same $800 a month and instead of handing it over to a lender for an asset that's dropping in value, she invests it. After just 3 years, while Clay is sitting there signing the paperwork for a second Tahoe, Hannah's brokerage account has quietly crossed the $70,000 mark. Fast forward 9 years, Clay is now on his 4th Tahoe. Sure, he's got slightly newer features, but Hannah? She's sitting on north of $250,000. She has built the kind of financial cushion where she can literally walk into her boss's office and negotiate without a shred of fear, because she holds the power. Clay? Well, Clay just holds a temporary license plate.
Now, let's project that out over an entire career, from age 25 all the way to 65. If you take Clay's 3-year upgrade habit and just invest that money instead, the opportunity cost is absolutely massive. Even being conservative, that $800 monthly habit costs him $2 million. And if you run that same math at the stock market's actual historical average, you're looking at closer to $5 million lost. Honestly, the car industry has engineered the 84-month loan specifically to trap people in this cycle. They sell you a monthly number instead of a total price, and it keeps you permanently underwater. I want you to really think about this quote for a second. The choice was never new car versus old car. The choice is new car versus retiring a decade early. Clay didn't really buy a Tahoe, did he? He bought a slightly nicer commute, and he quietly sold off his future freedom to pay for it.
Section 3. The Repair vs. Replace Checklist.
Okay, the biggest mental hurdle almost every young professional faces is this intense fear that an old car is just going to bankrupt them with repairs. But this is what we call the repair illusion. Think about it. Clay is absolutely guaranteed to spend $9,600 a year on his car payments. That money is just gone. Now, let's say Hannah has an absolute nightmare of a year with her old CRV. Maybe the transmission mount fails, a wheel bearing goes out, and she gets hit with a brutal $3,000 repair bill. Even in her absolute worst-case scenario, Hannah's still $6,600 ahead of Clay for the year. And most years, she's only paying a few $100 for oil changes and tires. The data clearly proves that repairs are actually the smallest controllable cost of owning a car. An old car only feels expensive because the mechanic's bill hits you all at once, while the new car payment drains your account slowly every single month, exactly where you were trained not to look.
Now, of course, driving a car literally until the wheels fall off isn't always the right move. So here's a non-emotional, purely mathematical checklist for when you should actually pull the trigger and upgrade. Step 1. Safety. If your car is missing crucial tech like automatic emergency braking, which by the way cuts rear-end crashes in half, that's a completely valid reason to upgrade. Step 2. Reliability cliffs. A 10-year-old Honda? That's a workhorse. A 10-year-old super complicated European luxury car? Yeah, that's often a total money pit the second the warranty dies. Step 3. The break-even point. When your annual repairs reliably start costing more than a sensible used car, it's just basic math to move on. And finally, Step 4. Income dependency. If you're a contractor or a rideshare driver, vehicle reliability isn't some vanity metric. It's literal business insurance. You got to use this framework to make the call, not let the guy at the dealership with the clipboard make it for you.
Section 4. The Psychology of Wealth.
So if the math so clearly favors keeping an old car, why does almost everyone keep trading them in? Well, it starts with this psychological loop called hedonic adaptation. This is the exact biological reason why you just cannot buy your way to lasting happiness. You buy the shiny new truck, you feel this massive spike of joy, and then your brain quietly resets that truck as your new normal. Actually, researchers have found that within roughly 5 years of buying a new car, a third of that happiness boost has completely evaporated. This biological trick is exactly what forces Clay to perpetually chase the next shiny vehicle just to feel that high all over again.
And this reveals the ultimate choice you're making right out there in your driveway. A car can be a costume, or it can be a tell. Clay's heavily financed Tahoe, that's a costume. It's money he doesn't actually have, spent to impress complete strangers in traffic, chasing a feeling that is biologically guaranteed to fade away. Hannah's dented Honda, though, that is a tell. It is a powerful, undeniable signal of deep financial discipline and a long-term vision.
Now, if you think I'm just romanticizing this, let's look at the actual hard data on what wealthy people drive. The most common car brands owned by real statistical millionaires aren't Ferraris. Nope, they are Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords. In fact, 60% of high-earning households don't own a single luxury car. Warren Buffett, literally one of the richest men on planet Earth, intentionally drove a hail-damaged Cadillac because he got it at a discount. I mean, it's wild, but the people who look rich and the people who are rich are very rarely the exact same people.
What Hannah and Warren Buffett have in common is this vital psychological trait: low time preference. It's the ability to delay gratification. They are totally willing to sit at a red light in a slightly uncool, maybe mildly uncomfortable older car today, knowing that this exact habit is purchasing them a massive amount of freedom for tomorrow. The 10-year-old car isn't the cause of their wealth, guys. It is the ultimate symptom of the mindset that builds it. Let's fast forward a few decades. When Clay hits 55, he's probably on his 9th or 10th new vehicle. When his check engine light comes on, it triggers this wave of absolute dread. He's up at 2 a.m. doing quiet math, terrified about whether his loan payment, his insurance, and a surprise repair bill can all survive the same month. Hannah doesn't have that dread. If her CRV breaks down at 55, it's just a minor Saturday annoyance. She pays the mechanic in cash from a fund she specifically set aside for it. The shiny new car doesn't buy you peace. The paid-off car does.
Which brings us to our final question for this explainer.
Look at the driveway outside your window. The car you don't upgrade is honestly one of the most honest things about you. It proves you ran the math and you trusted the numbers way more than the marketing. So, I am giving you full permission right now to do something quietly radical. You are allowed to keep the car that works. You're allowed to let Clay win the driveway so that you can win the decade. Opt out of the monthly payment game, invest the difference, and buy your future freedom. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and for more, subscribe this channel.